What's going on, everyone? Welcome back into the channel. As you can see here, we're going to be making an update to our current tier list. You can see there's a lot of problems with our current tier list, and obviously we're here to talk about it and kind of give a little bit of an update, especially with the new addition to Cassian being released. I believe that they said they were going to do 18, so obviously there's going to be 2 more leaders released. You're going to expect it, at least in my opinion, there's going to be a villainy command, which I believe is going to be Emperor Palpatine. And then there's probably going to be a heroic aggression card again, so because they seem to be keeping it equal, right? Vigilance has 2 heroes, 2 villainy cards, and then you have Command has 1 villainy card and 2 heroic right now. So I'm expecting Emperor Palpatine to be villainy command, and then you have Aggression that has currently 3 villain cards, and with the release of Cassian, now they have 2 heroic. So I do think that the last leader that we do not know about is going to be, well, one of the last 2 that we don't know about is going to be a heroic aggression card, right? And that's just me. Obviously, I could be wrong because I'm wrong all the time, and that's just kind of how it is. And also, before we get into the tier list here, I do want to talk about a couple cool things going on. January 9th, I have a video meeting with the Asmodee and Fantasy Flight guys, where they're going to be doing a call into our store. I work at Myrtle Beach Games, I'm manager there, and so we have a meeting with them. We get to ask them a bunch of questions, and they're going to tell us about the game and all this type of stuff and how they want us to sell it in the store. But not only that, they're going to be doing a road show. So we signed up, and we're hopefully going to get it done January, around sometime January 28th. I believe that's our goal of getting selected. But they're going to select stores to do a road show, which is a Star Wars Unlimited event. There's promos. They're going to teach you how to play. It's like a 16-person event, and hopefully we get picked. And I'm going to record that as well. So it's going to be some nice live footage of the game being played come January, right? We're hoping we get picked January because we don't want to be picked super late. So we were hoping for January. And that being said, let's kind of get into the tier list here. I'm sorry for talking your ear off. I've been away for a little bit and getting back into it. Obviously, the holidays, I went to New York. I moved, and so I wanted to go visit family and stuff like that. So now we're getting back into making Star Wars Unlimited content. And we're going to start off at the bottom here and kind of talk about our D tier. I'll put Cassian in at the end, right? Just do it that way. Looking at our D tier, I think IG-88 kind of stays. IG-88 still is kind of meh to me, but if we're going over the Inquisitor here, I do think that he's not as bad as IG-88, and he's been getting some things that can potentially make him a little more useful to it. So I do think that he jumps up a tier to tier D. Grand Admiral Thrawn, I talked about him last time. He's one of my favorites. I'm a huge fan of Rebels. I do think that the way they made the card, again, goes very well with his character. He's always one step ahead, knowing card knowledge, what's going to be in your opponent's hand, what's going to be in your hand. You can kind of play around with that. But that being said, the card overall has been kind of lackluster in the way that it performs. It's cool, control-y type of gameplay, but I'm going to probably keep it in C for now. I'm hoping that it can jump up. But I do think that it stays in C, and as well as Hera. I think Hera stays in C, even with the addition of Zeb, right? You know, adding in Zeb, you get another Spectre card that you can play in any deck with Hera. But again, I'll probably still end up playing Hera and stuff like that. I just think that there are other command leaders that just do better than she does at the moment. And her little gimmick thing, not having like a leader ability other than just being able to play any Spectre card in the deck without an aspect penalty, I just don't think that that's enough to move her up a tier. Now we go over to the next one here. Eden here, I do think that she moves up to B. She is a really good answer to Sabine right now. Sabine is one of the best decks, if not the best deck, in Star Wars Unlimited. I think that people probably might argue that she could be an A, but I think as like something that's just kind of countering certain decks and stuff like that. I mean, it's good. I just don't think that she's going to be a meta staple leader. But again, she is really good. I do think that she belongs in B because people are going to play it because of how many people play other decks, and this deck's good against those decks, right? Going over to Leia here. I was completely wrong about Leia. and not that I was wrong. I talk about how valuable it is to have something that can attack with two things in a single action. That's extreme value because you can end up getting all of your attacks in and grabbing initiative fast, right? There are times that I'm playing that I give up attacks to grab initiative because there are certain times when me having the initiative first is more important than getting off an attack at like an extra 3 damage or something like that. But Leia is one of those leaders where you don't have to worry about that because you can get multiple attacks in and you can essentially get all of your attacks in before your opponent because they have to use one action per attack. Her with aggression is really good. Green red Leia is extremely strong. And I think you can make the argument that she does actually belong in A. With other cards coming out and stuff like that, again, aggression is good to play with her. Like heroic aggression is getting a lot of support. I just think that Leia does belong in A at the moment. I mean, she might slot in here, right, in B, but I think that her in A, it does make a lot of sense. And she's just a really strong leader. Again, being able to attack with multiple things in one action is really strong. So that's going to do it for our C here. Now we're going to go up to Chewie here. I do think that Chewie goes down to C. I still think it's pretty good. You can do a lot of cool combos and stuff like that. And, obviously being a Sentinel with grit when it comes out, being able to give Sentinel to anything that comes in is pretty good as long as, it's 3 costs or less. You can get around some aggro decks in that, for the turn, certain areas can't attack the base unless they get through the thing that you put down, right? I just don't think that it's, extremely good as any other decks in B at the moment, and I think that it slides down to C. Then obviously, as the rest of the cards start coming out, you're seeing a lot of cool cards coming out recently. So I do think that having Chewie in C seems good to me. Krennic, I think Krennic still kind of stays in B. Again, my initial thought of the card was that it was not that great. But, seeing it in action, stuff like that, I still think that it's solid B card. I skipped Han Solo. I think Han Solo is really good as well, because there are things I'll talk about in a little bit. But with Krennic, I think that it's still slotted good at B. It's a pretty strong deck. I just don't think it's in the top echelons of decks at the moment, right? But people do really enjoy playing Krennic, and I understand why. Going over to Han here, Han's really good because you can get out 3-cost cards on turn 1. That's really strong. And then as well as being able to get out 6 costs before your opponent and stuff like that. It's really strong. The things that Han Solo can do, other decks can't do. But with that being said, I still think that it slots good at B just because one of the reasons that I had Leia down so low the first time is because against some of these other decks, she kind of runs out of steam, right? Han Solo, I kind of feel not that it runs out of steam, but you have to have certain combos kind of click off with him, and relying on that to have a really good game doesn't make it so going in the top A tier. I just think it belongs in B where it currently stands. Now, getting into Jyn Erso here, she was slotted in B last time. I think that she stays in B. You can probably argue that she might go down to C, but I do think that she is pretty good slotted where she is. Grand Moff Tarkin, he's still probably one of my favorite decks to play. I think he's good in B. Being able to give out the experience tokens early on and to the Imperial units makes him really strong. If you choose to play double command, you can use attack pattern delta with him added in with a Roam Barrage, and that combo is nasty. If you can manage to get that off late game, you can swing a game by clearing a board pretty easily. So I think that he slots at B. I don't think that he has the same value that Leia has, being able to attack as fast as Leia does, but I still think that he's a solid deck, right? I think that he is slotted good there. Going into the A tier, now I am going to be moving something up to the S tier, and that's kind of just because we've gotten a lot of gameplay of things, and obviously one of these top 4 decks, right? Boba Fett, Sabine, Vader, and Luke. I think one of them does belong into S tier. Luke is really strong. I think he can make an argument for S tier, honestly. I mean, I might put him in S tier. Being able to give things shield when they like, it's pretty good. I think he's extremely strong. Let's just get into the one. Let's just get into the one deck that does belong to be an S tier. I mean, listen, I don't enjoy playing aggro in any card game. So I probably won't be playing much Sabine, but she is so fat. She has the ability to like make sure your opponent cannot do what they have to do in time, right? If you can manage to get a Sabine player to like wait a little bit and you can clear the board and then you can kind of take things out. But the thing is like Sabine is so fast, doing damage to your base, getting things with the addition of other aggression heroic cards and aggression cards in general. Like it has made this deck extremely, extremely powerful. Like when you go ahead and you add in precision fire with some rebel troopers and stuff like that, that's really good. You can add keep firing. Keep firing is crazy. Infiltrators, you don't have to worry about, people's sentinels. Like this deck is extremely strong, extremely fast. I'm probably not going to play it because I'm not a huge fan of aggro decks. But in a big tournament, if push comes to shove, maybe I might take a little swing with it. But that being said, I do think currently it might be the best deck at the moment. And it's not that I'm upset about it. I love Sabine as a character. I just like playing decks that aren't just put down low things and swing a bunch of times, But I think it's an extremely good deck. There's a reason that I have it in S. It's probably the best. I think that Luke, Vader, and Boba Fett slotted in A with Leia is good. To me, I love Vader. I think Vader is one of my favorite decks to play. And you add in Force Throw, which is kind of cool. If you can get a Force Throw off early game and your opponent has like really high costs, like that's like good value. And like even late game, if you can have like, there are a lot of instances where your opponent only has one to two cards in their hand come like later on in the game. And if you play Force Throw, and they have to choose between the two cards, like that's devastating. So with that being said, that's kind of my A tier. And what I like about the A tier is that there's one from every deck, one from every color. Aggression, obviously having more options, right? They have 5. Everyone else has 3 to 4 with command. I like the spread of how they're kind of going with the power of the leaders. At least you have a leader, in my opinion, a viable leader of every color, right? That can really win you a bunch of games at any given time, right? Now we're going to get into Cassian here. I haven't been completely blown away with Cassian. I do think that his ability is pretty solid, right? If you do 3 damage to a base, you can spend 1 and draw a card. Card drawing is always good. And the thing is that having to do 3 damage to an opponent's base. So you're not drawing on turn 1. You can't do damage to your opponent's base on turn 1. And then you have to hope that you have something out there turn 2 to do 3 damage, which there are cards that are low cost, that are 2 costs that can do 3 damage. But again, like you're not drawing cards realistically until turn 3, 4. And so like I still think it's a really good card because heroic aggression is pretty strong. But I do think that it slides into the B category. People might not agree with that because again, card draw power is always good, but I do think that late, like early game, you're not going to be drawing many cards, and then like obviously he has Saboteur, which is nice when it comes out, and then he also, when you deal damage to an enemy base, you may draw a card. You can do it once per turn, once per round. Yeah, once per round. But still, I think that this is kind of where I'm falling. I think this is a decent tier list. I don't think many people are going to have a problem with this. And if you do, go ahead and roast me in the comments because we know that I make a lot of mistakes. And yeah, but this is kind of where I'm falling out. It just seems like right now, Sabine is the most like potent deck because of how fast it is, right? And with that being said, again, we have a lot of things coming out on the channel. I'm going to be going over my meeting January 9th with Asmodee and Fantasy Flight. Games about the game. I'm gonna probably record the Q&A that they have going on. So we're gonna talk about that. I'm excited for that. The Star Wars Unlimited Roadshow, we're gonna get some live footage from that, some gameplay, the promos coming from that. I'm super excited for that. And I'm hoping it's in January, not closer in March, because that would suck. But I do really, I'm really excited for that. I can't really talk about how excited I am about that. But we're gonna have some live coverage of that, and that's gonna be a lot of fun. And we're going to get back to getting up our normal battles between me and Matt. I'm also going to have other people come on and battle as well. So with that being said, I want to thank everyone for tuning in. All support. We're approaching 600 subscribers. So obviously we're not going to get there before the new year. But again, to grow as much as we have since the announcement of Star Wars Unlimited, I'm greatly appreciative of you guys, and I can't do this without you guys. With that being said, again, the game's coming out in March. We're going to be doing a lot of things because, again, I work at a game store. Myrtle Beach Games, link to that YouTube channel is down in the below, but we're going to be doing pack openings when the game comes out. We're also going to be doing giveaways of packs. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do every 5 subscribers during a live stream, a pack goes into the giveaway, and then we're going to pick a person at the end of each live stream. We're going to have, hopefully a lot of stuff to give away to you guys for all the support that you guys have given me. So with that being said, if you guys have enjoyed, leave a sub, greatly appreciative, and I'm going to go on and get out of here. See you guys in the next video. See ya.